The revelation came like an unexpected thunderclap. After weeks of silence, only now has HYBE decided to disclose the reason behind Jin's sudden departure from Los Angeles. Why this timing? Why did the company choose to remain silent at the very moment fans were most desperate for clarity, only to reveal the explanation at such a delayed stage? These questions are not merely speculative. They lie at the heart of a global storm of discussion among armies who feel both blindsided and unsettled. For days, the narrative surrounding Jin's sudden move out of LA had been dominated by speculation, conflicting interpretations, and unanswered questions. Fans demanded transparency. Observers waited for a definitive explanation. Yet HYBE's silence created a vacuum. A silence that allowed rumors to spread unchecked and emotions to intensify. When the reason finally emerged, it was not only the content of the revelation that shocked, but the fact that it was revealed so late. The delay itself has become the most pressing question. Why now, and not then? The abrupt departure of Jin from Los Angeles was already puzzling. As one of the most visible figures in the global entertainment industry, his movements rarely escape notice. To leave a city that has long been associated with music, production, and high-profile engagements without prior notice immediately fueled doubts. Was it a personal issue? Was it related to professional commitments? Or was there something deeper that required secrecy? Every possibility was dissected, yet no clarity surfaced until now. And still, the timing of the disclosure casts a shadow over the truth. HYBE's late admission has introduced a wave of unease into the fandom. Transparency, or the lack of it, shapes trust between artists, management, and fans. In Jin's case, the trust of millions of armies hinges not only on the explanation itself, but on the chronology of its delivery. Why was the truth withheld when confusion was at its peak? Why was silence prioritized over clarity? And perhaps most importantly, what compelled HYBE to break its silence only now? The emotional weight of this delay cannot be underestimated. Armies across the globe felt abandoned in the gap between Jin's sudden disappearance from LA and HYBE's eventual statement. In that void, speculation ran rampant. Some feared that the situation involved internal disputes, others wondered whether health concerns were involved, and still others believed that strategic considerations were at play. The absence of confirmation left each theory unchecked, magnifying both fear and hope. The eventual revelation, though significant, failed to erase the memory of that silence. Timing is everything in public communication. When a figure as influential as Jin becomes the subject of rumors, silence is not neutral. It becomes a statement in itself. By delaying their disclosure, HYBE allowed the situation to evolve into a crisis of trust. The sudden unveiling of the reason after such a pause raises questions about intent. Was the delay calculated? Was the company waiting for conditions to shift in their favor? Or was there internal uncertainty about how much should be revealed? Each possibility fuels further suspicion for armies. The question is not only what happened, but also why now? Why reveal this reason at this precise moment? The chronology matters because it determines whether fans interpret the company's action as an act of respect or an act of control. Revealing the reason immediately could have calmed confusion. Revealing it late, however, signals caution, hesitation, or perhaps reluctance. In the world of high-stakes entertainment, where every word carries weight, even hesitation becomes a powerful message. The delayed revelation also exposes the fragility of trust within the idol fan company triangle. Armies have long been known for their unwavering support, but they also expect honesty. When silence replaces transparency, the risk is not simply disappointment, but erosion of faith. Jin's bond with fans is built upon sincerity, vulnerability, and shared emotions. When an external entity delays truth, it places strain on that bond, forcing fans to question whose interests are being prioritized. This is why the shock today is not confined to the content of HYBE's disclosure, but amplified by its timing. The late admission has raised the stakes. Every detail now feels scrutinized, every phrasing dissected, and every motive questioned. The global ARMY community demands to know not only the reason for Jin's departure, but also the reason for the delay. Without both, the explanation risks sounding incomplete. Furthermore, the late revelation sets a dangerous precedent. It signals to fans that information may not be shared when it is most needed, but only when the company deems it strategically advantageous. This precedent undermines the very essence of fandom, a relationship founded on trust, loyalty, and openness. The longer a vacuum is allowed to exist, the more difficult it becomes to restore confidence. What complicates the matter further is Jin's unique position within BTS. As the eldest member and a figure who often carries both responsibility and emotional resonance, his movements naturally attract scrutiny. His absence from LA was not perceived as a minor logistical decision, but as a symbolic gesture loaded with meaning. By delaying their explanation, HYBE not only left a gap in information, but also in emotional reassurance. The fans were not just waiting for facts, they were waiting for comfort, clarity, and closure. The revelation today, therefore, feels like both a relief and a provocation. A relief because it ends the silence, but a provocation because it comes so late that many cannot help but suspect ulterior motives. Was the delay meant to test reactions? Was it intended to control narratives? Or was it the result of internal conflict over how much truth could be shared? In the absence of clear answers, these questions multiply, intensifying the shock rather than resolving it. The ARMY community is now caught between two competing emotions: gratitude for finally receiving an explanation and frustration that it took this long. This duality underscores the precariousness of trust in the global music industry. Fans are not passive consumers, they are active participants, deeply invested in the lives and careers of the artists they admire. To withhold truth from them is not a trivial decision. It is a gamble with loyalty. In the end, the most pressing question remains unresolved. Why did HYBE choose this moment, and only this moment, to reveal the truth? The content of the explanation may address Jin's departure, but the delay leaves an open wound. The timing itself has become a mystery that demands its own answer. Until it is addressed, the sense of shock will persist, and the shadow of doubt will linger over both HYBE and Jin's journey. What fans demand now is not speculation but clarity. They want to know not only what happened, but why they had to wait so long to learn it. The silence, once considered a strategy, has now become the central controversy. And until that question is answered, the revelation will remain incomplete, and the shock will continue to reverberate across the ARMY community worldwide.